Oh, got to get used to this StreamYard. What is up, besties? Welcome to a impromptu Lego Tales of the Underworld speculation. Super great guest, Catrina, live stream. How's everybody doing tonight? How are you, Catrina?
I'm doing really well. I'm very excited. It's a good week, of course, to be a Star Wars fan for many reasons, but for you and I, it's a good week for a really special reason. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, if y'all couldn't tell by all the posts, we're really excited for Cad Bane. Uh,
Yeah, love him. Best guy in the world.
we're so excited to get more of his story. No, we're here to talk about Ventress, which, if you follow us on social media, chances are you see us talk about Ventress a lot.
hmm I'm
And
so excited.
yeah, and to celebrate, I've also got an Ahsoka Lego set that I'm gonna build. And it was funny because when I was researching just like Ventress Legos and whatnot, there's like 3 sets, and none of them came out anytime recently, and they're running for like 200 $400 on eBay. And I was like, well, I guess we won't be getting one of those for the stream. So we settled for this cute little Ahsoka Jedi Interceptor.
Nice. I mean, it's a great opportunity for us to look Lego dead in the eye and say Ventress has had 3 personal ships now, none of which you
Yeah.
have made. So get to it. Snap, snap.
Yeah, and it's funny mentioning her ships.
Mhm.
I can't really tell what her latest ship looks like.
Yeah, it's a little like bee wingy, where it has
Yeah.
the one wing that goes out, but it's like it's not. I don't think it's an actual. It's not a bee wing for real. It's just it has that same like composition. So I'm wondering where she got that because it's definitely different from the one she had in Dark Disciple, and then the fan
Mhm.
ship that she had when she was serving under Dooku. And both of those ships were named Banshee. So I assume that this ship is also named Banshee.
Yeah, probably. That's what I was gonna say. Is definitely not the Banshee, which I'm sure by now multiple people have seen the concept art of because it's been posted
Mhm.
online. I think it got kind of repurposed into the Ghost, if I'm not mistaken.
So it actually got repurposed into what's her name? Kez, Sabine's friend.
Hmm.
It's her ship. So what is this? It's a
Sabine's
Lancer.
girlfriend, you mean?
Sabine's little girlfriend. Yeah, yeah. One of Sabine's girlfriends, let's
Yeah.
be real. Yeah, so it is a Lancer class pursuit craft. And it's pretty neat. Like if you look at the concept art, and this has a lot to do with Dark Disciple, that ship was designed specifically so that in Dark Disciple, it has like a 2-person like pod in the front. What is that thing called? I don't know. Cockpit. Cockpit. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. So it has a 2-person cockpit, and one of the people is slightly more elevated into the gunner position, whereas the lower position is the pilot position. And it was made so that the 2 chairs could spin around and talk to each other, so that when Ventress and Quinlan were having scenes where they were discussing things, they could like face that way. So if you look up the concept art by Dave Filoni, he did it himself. He concepted the ship, and it's just a very very cool ship.
Yeah,
Uh,
and the swiveling pilot chairs makes it a little intimate.
yeah, it
Um,
does.
and if you've read Dark Disciple, you know that it's a very intimate book.
Yeah, it was one of those rare, hot and heavy Star Wars novels. Honestly, it got real close in the moment where it faded to black. So it was very like,
Well,
oh,
speaking of that moment, I
mm,
didn't realize till I did my book club. I did a book club in my Discord for Dark Disciple back in the lead up to the Bad Batch season 3.
mm.
And when I was doing the book club and I reread that scene where they're on Dathomir and they go up into the ship and it's about to get hot and heavy, and then I think they get a call from Ventress's lead on Raxus about Dooku. I did not realize that they were about to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know I don't know why I didn't realize that before, but I was like, "Oh my god, they were about to like get it on." in
Oh yeah.
Star Wars, and they were not afraid about it because even I think Ventress, like it says, she rolled her eyes and like was like, ugh, which so relatable.
I really enjoyed like the how like grown up that book was. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Brian, he wouldn't be the first. This is okay. So this is my brag worthy thing about Ventress. My contribution to Star Wars canon was because Mike Chen, the author of Star Wars Brotherhood, called me up and was asking specifically about what the positioning of Ventress's lightsabers on her hips were, and asked me some details about her costume and how it moves and stuff. And so I gave him those details, and that turned into a scene where Obi-Wan stared at Ventress's hips a little bit too long.
Yeah.
He noticed her lightsabers, and then he just kept looking there.
As
So,
one does.
you know, but who wouldn't? And
Who
thank
could
you, Red
blame you?
Rose. This is my shirt is by Bad Feeling. It's the Hut Slayer shirt. So wait, there we go. Go check it out. Get badfeeling.com.
Yeah, our good friend Crystal, that's her brand. And honestly, I considered wearing that shirt again tonight also.
Oh, we
But
would have been twins.
I know, but I didn't because I was like, I'm so weird because if I've worn like the same outfits like recently on live
Mhm.
streams, I think people are gonna judge me, even though I'm sure nobody will actually notice.
Mhm.
So
I
yeah.
am absolutely on that wavelength because I was about to put on the same shirt that I wore when I was doing the Star Wars celebration stream with you guys. And then I was like, oh wait, I wore that on their celebration stream, and so this is why I'm wearing this. And I also like just got this shirt, so I had to go show it off. And yeah, Obstressed, Obi Ventress, Ventrobi. Oh, what's up, Em?
Yeah, it's funny actually because I wore when I was going back and looking what I wore on recent streams, I wore this on the first Wayseekers Cantina where we had M on as a guest. So
Oh.
M, don't worry about clocking me. I clocked myself.
Oh man, yeah, I am when it comes to like Ventress, I have to say I'm like definitely a multi-shipper. Like of course I love her with Vaz, and of course I love her with Obi-Wan, but I also love her with Lots Razi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were clearly on a date in that season 4 episode where like they're in that cantina, like, and Lots like reaches out to touch her hand and make sure she's okay, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, ladies, let's
Right
what's with the
after
lesbianics?
right after Ventress murders that guy at the bar,
Mm-hmm.
you know, her Lots Rosie had to be like, "Are you good?" I know,
Thanks, sweetheart.
not are you upset? It was like, "Was that a lot of work? You probably need to relax. You're just so great." Which,
I love it.
speaking of, you bring up Lots Rosie, and something I haven't thought a ton about, but it's something that I know we're gonna get. What do you think she's gonna do in Tales of the Underworld?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, she is a pretty like I have a feeling that like out of most of that crew that was on the train with Boba and Ventress and stuff, I think that those were the two who were going to keep in contact the most. They
Yeah.
seem like they actually got along, and Ventress actually liked being around Lots or didn't hate being around Lots versus the rest of the crew. Like she did not want to interact with those people. So I think like maybe she's like a contact or something like that, you know, like kind of like how, you know, Ventress, by the time we see her in Bad Batch, seems to have a bit of a network where, you know, she knows Fennec by then.
Yep.
And so I think that she's part of like Ventress's like network of
Her
contacts and
network of
people.
bounty girlies.
Bounty girlies, yeah, bounty girlies that she's definitely kissed.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of too, I always forget the droid bounty hunter's name. Is it Harsinger?
I think so. I also forgot his name.
He's in the trailer.
Mhm.
I think there's a scene of Ventress actually slicing him in half.
Oh god.
So yeah, I almost wonder if it could be a situation where maybe Lots is tasked with hunting Ventress without realizing it, and that's how
Mhm.
they might kind of cross paths. Because we don't
Right.
know. They say Ventress is on the run, but what is she on the run from? The Inquisitors? Did they think she's a Jedi, so they need to kill her? Did she do somebody wrong in a bounty? Who knows how long she's been gone or how long she's been back? And who knew that she was gone? And who knows that she's back? There's just so much we don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's a really good like assumption to make. Like it's either that or like maybe they're after the same target. Maybe, you know, Ventress is like, well, I was really good at this, so I'm gonna keep being a bounty hunter for now or something. Like she's got to meet that that Jedi Padawan guy at some point or another. So maybe that's what brings them all together or something like that.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see. It looks like there's a girl, like a young girl in the trailer too, and hiding out in that shack. I don't know if you have, but I've definitely gone and watched the trailer a million times, slowed it down, studied every scene. I thought about doing a breakdown, and I was like, everybody's done a breakdown for it. What is mine going to be other than me just like fangirling a little bit more than others?
I mean, I am totally supportive of it because I love watching you fangirl over Ventress. It makes me feel like I have more kindred spirits in this fandom. So, yeah, can I get it? Oh, amazing! Another girl that Ventress has totally kissed, Lassa Rame. Yeah, I mean, well, so that girl was with that older gentleman who I think in the trailer he identifies Ventress, or like it seems like he knows Lady Ventress. So it seems like he knows who she is. And yeah, so I mean, I think there's definitely something there where maybe she's like his relative or something like that, and that's kind of how she comes into play. But yeah, there's so much. I just ooh.
Well, now I feel like I have to talk about my theories because I brought it up.
Oh, tell me.
So my mind immediately went to it's his daughter, just because he's older and she's a child. So I was like, maybe it's his daughter. Maybe he is a separatist senator or was a separatist senator. I also thought, what if it's a situation where he is force sensitive and he has a force sensitive daughter and he knows like, I'm old, like I'm not gonna make it. She's a child. She needs to be protected. I can't protect her.
Yeah.
Like, but maybe she doesn't want to be force sensitive because she's shooting at Ventress from the shack. It seems like the guy is cool with Ventress, at least from the way he says her name in the audio clip we heard. But daughter or girl does not seem like she's cool with her. So I'm really curious. I'm like, maybe it's a bounty, but if it was a bounty, then why would he be cool with her? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to confess and say that I was like just this morning, like as I was debating logging into Fortnite, I was sent screeners for this arc.
Wow.
And so that's why I've been sitting here like, that's great. That's a great theory. That's really interesting.
Hey, better late than never, though.
Watched it all at once. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm so thankful that they sent me screeners because I don't know the first thing about Fortnite and I didn't want to put another game on my computer because you know Disney Dreamlight Valley takes up a lot of space. So
yeah, and I've got 20 gigabytes of The Sims, so I don't know.
Yeah, same exactly. So you know, I have to be picky choosy with my games and stuff. Like I do have a spaceship computer, but I don't want to ruin it too quickly. But yeah, I mean, what I will say is the trailer is pretty descriptive when it comes to like I guess the sequence of events that happens in this this miniseries. And yeah, I think how am I going to phrase this? Because now you all know that I know everything.
So you did get all three.
I got all three. I watched all three. There, you know, the embargo isn't up, so I'm like not allowed to really say anything about it.
That works for me because I'm like going crazy.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil.
I couldn't even see your quote tweet when you said tonight on my post. It said this post is hidden because of a muted word.
I
I'm
don't
like,
think I put. Oh, because the word Ventress or something is in your post, probably.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's I'm very excited that this is happening. Like I just moving off of what I think will happen and more on the topic of like we are getting more Ventress stories and we're getting I guess, more Ventress like merch. We have that loading screen in Fortnite which I think is like a wallpaper too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been like really stalking all of these May the 4th releases and stuff and just looking for her
Mhm.
it's pretty bare bones, but I'm hoping that like these episodes go so well with fans and get them so excited about the character and her future and what could happen now that she's back from the dead,
Yeah.
because we there are a lot of gaps in her history basically after Dark Disciple. Like everything that we know so
Yeah.
far is a gap. We don't know what's happened since the end of Dark Disciple and the episode of Bad Batch that she's in, where she's clearly like looking for Force sensitives, and Fennec knows that she is looking for Force sensitives, and that is why Fennec references Omega to her,
Mhm.
which I think is a very fun choice too, because if you think about it, Fennec is in some way or another connected to both Ventress and Cad Bane,
Yeah.
and she refused to turn Omega over to Cad Bane and instead later called Ventress to help Omega. So I think that's a really cool juxtaposition to think about with these episodes. It has
Mhm.
nothing to do with the spoiler, though I will say I haven't watched the Cad Bane episodes, so maybe it will be. But
You saving the best for
save
last, right?
saving them, yeah. Well, I had to like do a lot of work today, so it was just like, oh, I'm gonna watch the Ventress episodes, and then
Oh,
when I'm laying down tonight, I'll go, get comfy and watch Cad Bane and stuff,
I
and
would have done the
formulate that.
same thing. I would have done the
Yeah,
same exact thing.
knocked him right out. But I think it's really cool to think about like what decisions led Ventress to do whatever she's doing there, and like what exactly is she working with the path? Is that, or is she on her
Mhm.
own doing this? Because one of the things that has been resonant about like Ventress's like vendemption, her atonement, is that everything she's doing is to prevent young people from living the life that she lived, essentially. Like
Exactly.
starting with Ahsoka, or if you go and you look at the those that Republic comic that came out, the story by Jodie Hauser, where she protects two young sisters and tells them to stick together. She does this again for Omega. I think there are a couple other moments where like she, Ventress sees a young person that could go down the path she goes down, and she's like, no,
Nope.
no, nope, I'm going to stop this from happening right now. And so like I think that's really cool, because like usually in Star Wars, redemption, quote unquote, is like 5 minutes of deciding that like, oh man, it was bad that I was a fascist. Okay, I'm going
Yeah.
to die now. Like
Yeah. Exactly.
so you don't see like atonement, and I think it's really powerful for this to be happening in the first place, and then also for it to be happening with a woman who was essentially, and no like flack to Christy Golden, who wrote an incredible story. Like, she wasn't the person who was in charge of this decision, but Ventress was fridged, for
Mm.
Quinlan Vaz's survival and story. And so I think that just makes her character so much more interesting and so much more like revolutionary in the context of Star Wars, where like women have been sacrificed for the plot of men countless times
Oh
for
my gosh.
yeah.
Speaking of, and this is a little bit, well, it's not off topic. Just went and saw Revenge of the Sith 20, what was it, the 20th anniversary? And I'm
Hmm.
sitting here the whole time and I'm like, they didn't give Natalie Portman anything to do in this
Yeah.
movie. She
She
sat in
just
her
looks
apartment
beautiful. That's it.
basically. And then what I did realize is because I just did a Mon Mothma like ranking her best moments. So I rewatched those
Hmm.
deleted scenes and I was like, oh, all the scenes that she had stuff to do were deleted.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
so you end up with her doing nothing essentially in the movie except for when she goes to Mustafar, and
Yeah.
it's just like poor thing. I would have been
I
so mad when I read that script and then all those scenes got cut. But
release the Padme cut for the 25th anniversary. Like that's what I want. Like I
Yeah.
just want to see her doing things because like you
Padme cries and pops out babies.
yeah, and it's so frustrating. I just, it sucks to see a character who I was watching one of my favorite YouTube channels earlier, Cinema Therapy,
Mhm.
and they were kind of bringing this up too, where it's like this character has been built up from the beginning as someone who is strong, someone who is smart, someone who is like intimidating to her elder peers. Like
Yeah.
Padme scares old men, like uh,
As she
because
should.
as she should. And throughout the Clone Wars, this is again that's her story, is like she is this capable person, and like her one flaw is that she has an incredibly, like, please, my friend Britt, please don't look at the screen at the stream and kill me, but like she's a very unrealistic relationship
Yeah.
with Anakin, like, and like because being a hot guy can only take you so far with like a strong-minded like woman or partner. You can't sail on looks alone when you kill a bunch of children. And like it just
Yeah.
those moments that Padme, like, where she just kind of sits and consoles him and kind of just turns into this like mother figure, are just so
Yep.
deeply unrealistic to everything else that she is.
The hairbrush.
The hair.
As
I,
so are we talking the fact that it was not a meant hairbrush for her hair?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, well, that, and when we were watching the 20th anniversary, my partner and I like turned to him and I was like, she's not actually brushing her hair in this scene. That's why you don't see it. Because you can't brush those curls. Like
Yeah. It'll turn to
those are,
frizz.
yeah, it'll just turn out to frizz and explode, and so that's why she's turned in such a certain way that like you can see her hand moving, but I can guarantee you the teeth of that brush are not touching that wig. Not at all.
Yeah. Poor Padme. She deserves better. Um,
Mhm.
and I think too, just going back to releasing the cut with those deleted scenes, now that like Mon Mothma and Bale and like the Andor series, that's become such a thing, and they're exploring it so much more, even within Reign of the Empire, Mask of Fear.
Mhm.
Why not re-add those scenes in?
Yeah.
I mean, Return of the King, Lord of the Rings. How long is that extended cut? 3.5
Mhm.
hours, almost 4 hours.
Yeah.
We can have a 3-hour Star Wars movie,
Just give
and
us a little more. Like no matter what, she's gonna like decide to stay with Anakin and then eventually die
yeah,
of like sadness.
yeah.
Which I think is stupid. Add in a scene where Palpatine is manipulating the Force, because it's just my yeah, no, agreed. As a fellow curly girl, no, absolutely not. But add in a scene where like Palpatine is clearly working the Force to take Padme's life force and put it into Anakin or something like that. Like I just,
Brian, this is
ooh,
great.
yes,
This is
it's
great.
perfect.
And you know what? They've recasted Bale. They can recast Padme.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want them to,
I
but
mean, Natalie's there. Like,
I
I
know.
mean, if she's not busy, I'm sure they could call her. She's expressed interest, I think, in recent interviews where,
Yep.
she'd come back. So, like, I
That
just,
would be a perfect place to do it. A flashback to like the
yes,
delegation of 2000 or something.
I
And
want it.
that's one thing that makes me so upset is we hear so much about Mon and Padme's relationship, but we never actually saw much of it because
Mm-hmm.
it's mostly explored in the books. And then in the Clone Wars, Mon's just like Bale's sidekick. I think she has lines in 3 episodes and
Mm-hmm.
she appears in 15 and she's just there.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking with Celebration and, panels I would like to see in the future. And they might have done this in the past. I've never been. So don't be
Mm-hmm.
mad, y'all, if I say something they've already done. But I would love like a Heroines of the Galaxy panel with like
Yes.
Genevieve O'Reilly, Natalie Portman, Kelly Marie Tran. Who else? I'm trying to remember the actors' names or the actresses' names. Um,
Daisy.
Oh, duh, Daisy
Adria
Ridley.
Arjona for sure.
Yep, and I'm trying to think
Mhm.
of who plays Jana. I can't remember her name. Um,
Oh,
and I can't remember Bo-Katan's Katie Sackhoff.
Katie Sackhoff, yeah. Yeah. Oh man, that would be a powerhouse panel too. Like I'm sure that would be like a packed room.
That
I
would be
mean
there.
any panel you bring Natalie Portman for would be a packed room, I think,
Well,
at
and
Celebration. But yeah.
exactly, and that's what got me thinking
Naomi
about it
Ackie.
because I was like, "Has Natalie Naomi Ackie?" Thank you,
Mhm.
Brian. Naomi Ackie.
Thank you.
Oh, they could they could have Keira Knightley play Padme. She's done it before.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Oh man.
But I was like, what's a way where we could get Natalie Portman on a panel at Celebration? And then I was like, oh, I'd love to hear her talk about being a woman in Star Wars. And then I was like, and all the other women in Star Wars can be there too.
It would be so amazing. I mean, the next one's in LA, and for better or for worse, a lot of those people live in LA. And
True.
as someone who has previously lived in LA, for better or for worse, I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity to get so many actors to actually come to Celebration.
Yeah.
I know there were a lot of people missing this year, like none of the sequel trilogy folks were able to make it, and Mark wasn't able to make it. So yeah. Yeah. So that would be such a sick panel. I would love it. But
Oh,
yeah.
Nika Futterman.
Nika. Oh, yes.
I'm like, I
Oh
know I'm
man.
forgetting somebody. Or even if we did a, women of heroines of animated Star Wars animation.
Mm.
If we want to split it up because it's like we can't have all of our favorite divas on the stage together. The stage wouldn't be big
It'd be
enough.
powerful.
Yeah, exactly. So we
I
could split
love
up the
that.
animation live action. Katie
Yeah.
Sackhoff can be on both.
Yeah. I think Genevieve O'Reilly did the 3 Mon
Oh,
Mothma lines.
she voiced Mon in Rebels throughout that
Yeah.
series. She had
Mhm.
surprisingly a lot in Rebels that I forgot about. There's a
Mhm.
lot of good Mon moments in Rebels.
Yeah, and Vanessa Marshall is always great
Yep.
on a panel. I'm sure Ashley Eckstein would be
Oh,
very
duh.
down for it. It would be great. I mean, it's just such a great opportunity having it in Los Angeles, like that to bring out these people and have these like very very meaningful panels.
Yeah.
Alongside whatever announcements they're doing, I think it's just like something that you have to take advantage of, because even extending it out to Anaheim, like the thing I know about living in Los Angeles is nobody wants to drive longer than like 15-20 minutes. So like we've had Anaheim conventions where it's like, I know this guy lives like 45 minutes away and he's not coming to this show. But having it right there in the middle of LA is just, I think, I really hope they take advantage of that, because it would be awesome.
And maybe that's why they did. I didn't even think about that part. Why they're like
Mhm.
LA 50th anniversary, perfect.
So perfect. Yeah. Man, I just like, let's you and me and Nika Futterman do a Ventress panel. Just all
Honestly, I was
Ventress
like,
all
if
the
they don't
time.
if they don't plan one, I'll plan one and I'll
Let's
talk
do
about the
it.
heroines of Star.
Yeah. I got to get the Ventress Day website updated so that we can start working on that, because I did reach out to Nika Futterman last year, but it was a little too close to the
Yeah.
date for her to commit. But she did say she wanted to be involved this year.
Hell
So yeah, so I'll be working on that very soon. And yeah, and I mean, oh man, this has kind of reminded me of like the fanfic I haven't written yet, where like Anakin is on an away mission and he's not around to be Padme's bodyguard, and Padme wants to go do like a secret mission or something
as she
somewhere.
does.
So
Yeah.
yeah, she does all sorts of stuff on her own. And so she's like, oh man, but I do need a bodyguard. Who would I ask? And then there's this bounty hunter. Her name's Asajj Ventress. She's really skilled. And Ventress and Padme have like a buddy cop like
That
relationship.
would be fun because Padme,
Yeah.
they're both very sassy. I feel like they're
Mm-hmm.
sassy in different ways, but both
Yeah.
still very sassy. And I'd love to see that energy and how they'd play off of each other. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, imagine, take away Anakin and Ventress's history, but imagine if that's how they met. Ventress would be reading him for filth.
all the time. Be
You're
like,
like,
this is
Padme,
your man.
this guy, really? He's got severe mommy issues. Like, you need to get that in check.
Oh man, I'm sure she'd be very amused to find out about them.
Oh,
But
for
you know,
sure.
oh man, yeah. Oh, but gosh, I'm really excited for everyone to see these episodes and for hopefully more Ventress stories. Like
Yes.
that's really my big hope when it comes to like her appearance in Bad Batch and like these 3 episodes. There's so much from those 2 appearances that you can use to just kind of spring forth into, okay, well, what does she do? What is Ventress's, like, what is the rest of her life like? There's so
Yeah.
much you can do with it, because it's just like we don't know when she dies now. We don't know when the end is. Oh, little Drano.
I think this is R7, the box said. It's
Cute.
kind of funny because the color palette is the
Oh
same.
yeah, he matches her. That's
Not to
cute.
not to not to throw you off and say, look at my Lego.
No, I'm
That's
always
good
happy to look at
luck.
Legos.
I'm
I
glad
love it.
I'm glad you brought this back up though, because I was thinking in general, I was talking to my friend the Gaze Electric Foster earlier today because they were talking about they were going to watch it on Fortnite, and then they're like, well, the quality is actually not as good as Disney Plus, so I guess I'll just wait. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I am actually very surprised because I feel like this is the first of the 3 Tales series that they're really pushing.
Mm.
It seems like there's just more of a media push with this Tales series, and I'm like, maybe they, and it may not be because of Venture specifically, but I'm like, maybe they're believing more in this as like a limited series, as a mini series. Maybe they do want to do more with it, and this is kind of testing the waters. Also, like you said though, for more Venture stories, even more Cad Bane stories too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm interested to see, obviously, how everybody feels about it. I'm excited to see how I feel about it. I know you can't really talk much about it, but are you satisfied?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
I
Yeah.
had a feeling that would be the case.
Yeah.
But I
I
was like, let me just double check.
I feel so bad because like I want to talk as soon as you watch these episodes, I want to talk about them with you, but I am going to be on vacation next week, and like so I can't even like, like kiki with anybody about these episodes
Yeah.
because I'm going to immediately be like flying and out of town and stuff. So I have to like hold it in even longer, really. Like I'll have my review and stuff out
Oh,
probably
did
on
you
the
do a
Kiki
reaction?
Waffle. Yeah, I didn't do a live reaction because I was working all day,
Oh, okay.
but I will have like a review, and like I might try to get a video out within the next day or so, or recorded at least. But yeah, it's as a Ventress fan, 2 thumbs up all the way. I really hope that this is just like it points towards new stories, because like I have my Ventress and Padme fanfic, but I also have Old Lady Ventress trains Rey in the way of the
Yeah.
Night Sisters, which has just been like a thing forever. I've posted fan art that I
I
made
was
of
gonna
them.
say, I
Yeah.
remember
Hmm.
forever ago, I was like a baby in the online fandom. I remember seeing that artwork that you had did of like an old lady Ventress, and I was like, this is so cute. This is so like on brand.
She's so grumpy, and she just has her armor, like I designed kind of to be like a blend of like what her bounty hunter armor looks like in Dark Disciple, but like with a Night Sister twist. So it's like very red, and then there's some purple from her original outfit and
Mhm.
stuff. And yeah,
She's got a lot
I
of
love
green
it.
and teal now too, I feel like.
Yeah, she does. Especially with like her Bad Batch costume. But I think
Mhm.
her peak outfit was like her Dark Disciple outfit. And like we've seen art of it and stuff, but we haven't seen it in like action and animation yet.
Mhm.
And it's just so cool. Like I just love it's like this what is it, what scaled armor, really, with her. She has like this tunic and then the shoulder armor with the little snake pattern, and it's just this cool
Mhm.
blend of like golds and blues, and just looks
Yeah.
so damn good on her. So
Yeah, the new greenish look really fits well with I feel like she has more purple tones in her face now, not to
Mhm.
mention, the force lightning scarring that you
Yes.
see.
Oh, I
Yep,
loved that detail. Like I just when that showed up, like when she showed up in Bad Batch and had like force lightning scars on her, like
yep,
I had been canoning that for like ages, that like even before Dark Disciple, there were parts of her body that had force lightning scars
that
because of the
makes
way,
sense.
yeah, because the way Dooku trained her and stuff was very like abusive and violent. And
As he
so he's,
does.
yeah, it's probably not the first time that he has hit her with force lightning.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like her, she wore those long bandage wraps all over her hands and legs and stuff. And I'm like, that's covering up some scarring.
Yeah, that detail was for us. And,
Hmm.
and any other hardcore Dark Disciple stands.
Yes.
Like
Oh.
I'm so glad they put that in there. It made me smile. It made me feel validated. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That whole episode too was just like such a, like if you didn't read Dark Disciple, it was a great episode, but if you did read Disciple, it was an incredible episode. Like the
Mhm.
the scars, and then the moment with the monster creature was like is a
Yes.
direct callback to something that happens in Dark Disciple, and
With
her reaction to it is very different.
correct me if I'm wrong. Are you referring to the sleeper?
Yeah, the sleeper.
Okay. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. And because that's the connection I made with it too.
Yeah. So I loved it because for those not in the know, the sleeper was a creature that
Oh,
lived on
thank you.
Dathomir. Yeah, and
Thank you for explaining for everybody else.
yeah, so it was native to Dathomir, and as part of like basically a coming of age ritual, the Night Sisters would need to go and like I don't know if it was just like take this like rip a scale off of it or like actively kill it or something, but they did not treat that creature very nicely.
No.
And one of the ways that Ventress tried to train Quinlan in the dark side was to make him perform this ritual. And so seeing that juxtaposition against what she does in Dark Disciple or in the Bad Batch, where
Mhm.
instead of fighting this creature and taking it down and ripping off its scales or things like that, she calmly connects with this big fish. And I was just like, oh, it's just like in Dark Disciples.
No, I thought the same exact thing. I was right there with you. I love what
Mhm.
Brian said. Thank God the force lightning didn't cause her body to get all swollen and wrinkly like Shivi Pal. Yeah, and that image is fresh in my mind. We were just talking about the
Mm.
20th anniversary. I was like, oh God, he's so rubbery and like gooey looking. Ugh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I my partner said something after we watched Revenge of the Sith where it was just like, man, it was really lucky that George Lucas casted Ian McDiarmid so young,
Yeah.
so that he could play this like weird masked up emperor that looked all wrinkly when he was like older, but then when the time to record the prequels came around, he was like just the perfect age to
Yeah.
like be that emperor, which I just think was just great.
Okay, Eric, let me see what your joke. Nobody wants Palpatine's syphilis. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
That was a
Look,
good joke.
the difference between Ventress and Palpatine is clearly that Ventress knew what moisturizer was and Palpatine did
I was
not.
just gonna say one is pretty and one is not. Um,
Yeah, yeah, fair. I mean, yeah. I Palpatine is threatened by teenage girls. Ventress protects teenage girls. They're just not the same person.
yeah, definitely not. Their interests don't really align. Um,
No.
and that's something I'm really excited to see too, is comparing the Bad Batch to I feel like now I just sound dumb because you already know everything that happens. But because if I knew, I'd be like, okay, you're right. Oh no, that's wrong. Oh, you're totally off. Nope. Oh, you're right on track.
Oh,
That
I've been under NDAs for years. You can say anything and I will not react to it.
um what I'm excited for in Tales of the Underworld is the fact that this story is a Ventress story. This is
Yes.
not Ventress coming into a story that's already being told, like with the Bad Batch. And while I
Mhm.
did really enjoy that episode, the one thing I was like is, I want more. I want more
Mm-hmm.
Ventress time, but it wasn't her story. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be more of her story. So at first it was like, do I want it to be this Tales series? Because for anybody that has been subscribed to my YouTube channel or been on my social media, I've been making videos about Ventress leading the path, future animation. We now know that's going to be Maul Shadow Lord, but I'm not giving up hope.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I was like, oh, this is 3 episodes. They're only like 15 minutes at most. But then I was like, oh, but they are Ventress centric, which is exactly what I wanted. And my
Yes.
hope is that it will still fill in some gaps while also telling a new story and just getting more of her story in this era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I love that you brought up Maul Shadow Lord because, like, it's very funny. Everyone else, like, freaked out about, like, oh my God, more Maul. And I'm like, finally, we're going to find out how he got Ventress's lightsaber. Like,
I remember you brought that up on the stream, which that was a good conversation as well.
yeah. Yeah. I think, obviously, I think there's opportunity for Ventress to show up in that show. She and
I
Maul
agree.
they've crossed paths before. Like, he's clearly got her old lightsaber. Like, I think there's really good opportunity for that, and maybe that will lead into a Ventress centric series or something along those lines. Like, I want her back, and I want her to be able to, like, really lead a show, because that's really one thing we're missing in animation too, is like there aren't really any lady-led shows in Star Wars animation.
Yeah, it was Ahsoka.
But she's
Well, the
live
Clone Wars,
action.
Ahsoka in general. Yeah, now she's live action, so we're never seeing her again unless it's a brickhead.
Oh man, I think that with Tales, my hopes for Ventress appearing in live action and, like, in Ahsoka are also raised, because, like, we know that she at least is around during the Bad Batch era, so maybe she's still around after Return of the Jedi. Maybe at some point Ahsoka finds her. Like, the Night Sisters are so prevalent in that series that it just
Yep.
feels like a no-brainer for Ventress to, like, still be around and to show up and do something. So
Something I want to see, and I've talked about this in videos before, is I want to see a little girl gang of Ahsoka, Ventress, and Barriss. Like, they're
yeah,
all healed from their trauma and, like, at their best versions of themselves. I don't
yes,
need a series of
Ventress.
that. I just need, like, maybe an episode.
Yeah, I want Ventress to third wheel Ahsoka and Barriss on a little date.
Yeah.
Just be annoyed with them.
Now here's a question I have, because I feel completely I don't want Ventress in live action.
Mm.
Um and I don't want to get too much into it. Ahsoka was my favorite character. Now that she's in live action, I don't really care for her as much.
Hmm.
Um so far, there's definitely room to grow, and I've seen more of, like, what I like in the character.
Right.
Um but I'm nervous about a Ventress translation into live action as
Yeah.
well, for that same reason. I don't want some lady in a bald cap that looks all bulbousy. Like, think of, what was it, the Disney Star Wars Knights Ventress or
Oh,
whatever.
I remember her with her big egg head. Like,
Yeah.
I love that. I have very specific fan casts for her. I have kind of been attached to the idea of Michaela Cole playing her. Because, like, yeah, she has the cheekbones and the bone structure and stuff, but, like, that woman can deliver a performance,
Yeah.
and I think she's, like, built for it, and she's right around the right age for Ahsoka. But, like, I think it's less that, like, oh, I don't want Ventress in live action, and more like, I don't know if I want her in, like, an Ahsoka show. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know if that is really the mood I want. Is like, and maybe people will come after me for this, but I don't really want her in a Dave and John show. You know,
I get that.
I Yeah, I want her. I mean, it would be sick to have her in, like, oh my God, what is her name?
Who's
Bryce Dallas Howard show,
Yes.
or a Deborah Chow show. Like, one of
Mhm.
those two, I think, could handle her voice. Especially, I think Bryce Dallas Howard. I think they could really, like take the lead on that, and it would be really great. And also, I think Bryce Dallas Howard really needs her own Star Wars show already.
Honestly, at this point, they should have just gave her Rangers of the New Republic.
Yes. Oh my god, I think she'd be so great with that one.
Yep. But
yeah, I part of me is really eager for the idea of Ventress in live action. It was really, I'm sure you and I had both the same reaction when like hologram Anakin mentioned her
like
in Ahsoka.
an audible yell at the screen.
But it's just, I don't know. I would be very particular about how she's handled and stuff like that. Like it's just.
That's what it comes down to. And when I mention like a bad bald cap and stuff, I'm referring more to like think Ahsoka's Leku and how they've been ever changing since she started in live action, where it's almost like maybe they should have gave her more time to cook before they threw her in there. But I'm hopeful that if they were to bring another animation character, well, we saw how Hera looks.
Again, like I have not been super pleased with the way things have been depicted, like in the Ahsoka show and in like the Mandoverse in general. Like everything seems to fall just a little short from what I'm hoping for when it comes to how characters look and stuff. And at the end of the day, like I know it's up to interpretation. I know it's it is as Dave wants it, and those are his OCs. What am I going to do about it? But I just want, I that's my girl, and and I think I'm just going to be like super like nervous and hopefully not judgmental, but like I'm very particular with her, so I don't know, like there's a perfect vision I have for it, and I don't think it'll be achieved. So,
and that's why. See, my biggest thing is, and I don't know how you are when it comes to animation, but I love Star Wars animation. It's what got me back into Star Wars after like I got out of it like in high school, and then like in my early 20s, I started watching the Clone Wars, and that's what got me back into it.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel like I need my characters to cross over. I like the fact that it gives them more of like more people find out about them, and more people will go back and then rewatch their stories in animation. But it's kind of that conversation of, are we more validated as the character? I can't think of the word to describe it, but like, is this character, do they mean more now because they're a real person rather than your cartoon?
I've always been a fan of animation. I think I think you and I both came up in an era where, like, at least in my opinion, animation was like at its peak. I think we grew up in an era where budget was given to animation, or time, or or maybe even on the best shows, both of those things happened. And and we got to see like things really unfold, and like shows get better and better and better every season, because they would get 5-6 seasons of animated shows. And these days it's just like we have to be thankful for like 10 episodes of something that is like kind of all right. Except for like Bad Batch, which was fantastic, but even that was a much shorter series than what we grew up with. And so I've always like respected animation. I've always loved it. I still do as an adult. Like I've never been so precious that it was just like, oh, this is better, or like live action is the leveled up version. Like I've never thought that, and more often than not, that theory is proven very, very, very wrong. There are very few live action adaptations to things that like are better than the source material, because I those things were meant to have the stretch of imagination that you can have in animation, and you simply can't replicate in real life. And absolutely.
I completely agree. Get Crystal Kyber, she'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. I remember the live action adaptation that made me like super angry, not just because it wasn't good because it wasn't good, but it was also just like there was such little effort put into how the characters looked, and it was the American live action Dragon Ball movie, and
Oh,
I
I don't
was
know if I even saw that.
oh my god, oh my god, Emmy Rossum is in it. She's Bulma,
What?
and like yeah.
Is this
Yeah,
like Phantom of the
Christine.
Opera
Yeah,
era?
Christine from Phantom. It was like I think like 5 or 6 years after Phantom of the Opera because I was in college and I watched Phantom of the Opera in like high school or something. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
Emmy
post
Rossum is
Phantom,
Bulma.
pre
Mhm.
Shameless.
Yes, yeah, poster, yeah, and so like that character is a character that I have cosplayed. She has blue hair and blue eyes, and I have gotten those, and I got those cosplay lenses back in 2004 when they were deeply hazardous to us. And I
Yep.
popped those things in my eyes, and I
Yep.
put on that blue wig, and I was able to do that for under $100. So going to the live action Dragon Ball movie and seeing that they wouldn't change like they wouldn't even put contacts on her was just like it just pissed me off so much.
Yeah.
Like and that has just continued till today where it's just like how can you tell me that you spent like 40 million dollars on this movie and like you can't even get this character's alien features correct? Like
Well, what's funny to counter that? I guess I'm countering my own point here.
mm,
I was pleasantly surprised with Grand Admiral Thrawn's eyes.
mm, mm,
Pleasantly surprised about that because we even saw some photos like and maybe even one of the trailers, it might have been the celebration like leaked footage or something, but where it wasn't completely done because I don't think his entire eye, like the sclera part, was also red. I think it
mhm,
was just the pupils. So I was really surprised just to see that he had true Chiss eyes. So
mhm,
that I applaud. Now they could have given him some prosthetics on his forehead. They could have plucked the hairline of that wig a little bit.
mhm. We love our Thrawn with the receding hairline. Come on. Like,
Oh, no, oh,
yeah.
yeah, exactly, give him
Mhm.
but have you ever seen a good receding hairline wig?
No. Which is and it's so depressing too, because it's just like there are so many I don't know. There are a lot of Imperials who have very specific hairlines that they don't adapt in live action, and that's it's depressing. But I know there are a lot of people who are working very hard on these shows, and I
Yes.
appreciate them. But please, for the love of God, if you bring Ventress to live action, one, do it for a good reason.
Yep,
Do it to not just contribute to the stories around her, but like give us a little bit of like what she's doing and like you know,
yep, same
if
people
we
who did
Garza.
Madame Garza and the sexy twins in Book of Boba Fett. Now, are we talking about the
Yes.
sexy Twi'leks with her? You're not talking about the sexy Hutt twins. You're
I
talking
thought you
about
were
the
talking
sexy
about
Twi'leks,
those
right?
the sexy guards. What are they? The pig people?
Oh, the Gamorreans.
The Gamorreans with those thighs?
Honestly, Book of Boba Fett was doing something with its creatures.
There were a lot of moments where I questioned myself watching
Book of
Book of
Boba
Boba Fett.
Fett, Skeleton Crew, that Umbaran lady I didn't love, but
Mm,
Skeleton Crew also had some really good looking aliens as well.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
agreed.
like you said, I'm not going to fault the people behind the scenes because they can only work with what they are given, and I'm sure it's not a
Mm-hmm.
lot because it's
Yeah.
sometimes that ends up being an afterthought to the people making, whatever it is. We got to have the spectacle, the CGI
Mm-hmm.
fest. We got to have Luke Skywalker.
Jeez. Well, I really hope that what like I know not to get like too off topic and stuff, but like I was very pleased with
It's Friday night, we're chilling.
yeah, I was really pleased with the recast on Bail Organa with Benjamin Bratt. One
Talk
'cause
about a
yeah,
hairline upgrade.
absolutely. Like one because they kept him Latino. Benjamin
Yeah,
Bratt is part Peruvian, which was very important to me. It was important that like Bale never turns into a white man again.
exactly, getting
Um,
whitewashed.
and it was just further proof that like yes, you can recast these characters and people will be cool with it. Like there are very few complaints I have seen about that particular recasting, and I think that it's good proof that you can put someone in these iconic roles and like why not just let that actor be Luke Skywalker? He looked
Yeah.
fine. Like
Oh, who was it? Grant I don't remember what his
Yeah,
last name
Grant
was, but
Hamilton, I think his last name was.
that sounds right. But yeah,
Yeah,
he looked perfectly fine. And
he's
I'm not
great.
gonna lie, anybody who's talked to me, I was not thrilled about the Bale recast just for
Mm.
continuity because I really like lore and the lack of
Mm-hmm.
continuity stresses me out. But it was the posts talking about how Brea was recast.
Mm-hmm.
We've had two actresses playing her. We've had CGI Leia and young Leia, neither of
Mm-hmm.
which were Carrie Fisher. So I was like, you know what? You're right. Bale can be recast. I'm fine with it. And he does. Benjamin Bratt does look good. Honestly, like I said, the hairline's better than Jimmy Smith's, so he's the even more attractive Bale. I don't mind looking at a nice daddy on my screen. And I don't know if I'm getting Blue Leader and Talk Merrick, so gotta have
Mm.
one.
Yeah, yeah, true. Absolutely. Rip and Doc Merritt. We love you. But
Yeah.
yeah, I I would love to see, like, it's less about like, oh, I want to see Ventress in live action and more like I want to see Ventress. Like any chance I get to see Ventress, read about her in a comic, read a book, in a video game, in live action, in animation, like any chance, I will take it.
Honestly,
um,
if it's a good story, like, and it makes
mhm.
sense, like, I think it made sense for the Bad Batch. It didn't just feel like they were like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll just throw the Sith Jedi bounty hunter lady in."
yeah.
Like,
She was the right character to bring in for that specific point in Omega's life too. I
yeah.
think that bringing in someone who was a like a strict Jedi or a strict Sith or what, or who like stuck to a strict path, because by the time we meet Ventress in Bad Batch, she's clearly like she and the Force have a very different relationship than
Very
we're
different.
used to. Yeah, and so I think that with Omega just now, like just coming into how she saw the Force.
Mhm.
Bringing Ventress in was a very, very good move for that, because Ventress didn't put rules onto her where it was like, oh, well, this is the kind of Force user you have to be in. It was more like, well,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
So,
because not to say that the Jedi were right in doing this, but, them saying some people were too old to be trained. We saw
mm,
what happened with Anakin. He didn't get a master who could actually help him. Well, Qui-Gon died. He probably could have trained him and made it work. But that's the thing when you have these people who already have like their views of the world have formed, they have a system, they have a relationship with the people around them. You can't just do it one size fits all.
yeah.
And I think
Hmm.
that's a perfect way of putting it is that Ventress was the right person because she's non-conventional.
Hmm.
And we're going to see that again. But this time this child is force sensitive. Well, I don't want to say they are force sensitive because Omega is still kind of up in the air, but this kid has a lightsaber. This kid
Yeah.
is most likely an Order 66 survivor. Can't remember if it was confirmed on StarWars.com or not, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm really interested to see that relationship because of the fact that this kid obviously was already had some sort of training. So
Hmm.
they can already go deeper than Ventress and Omega could have gone.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
saw Omega just got frustrated and gave up.
Hmm.
This kid can clearly already tap into the Force. So, and I love me a Order 66 Survivor story. I know there's so many of them. People are like, another Inquisitor, another Order 66 Survivor. But I'm like, give me my characters working through their trauma. That's the
Yeah.
characters I like.
And it is a galaxy with over 100 systems.
Yeah.
Like that's not even 100 planets. Okay, that is 100 systems, and some of those systems have more than one planet, and some of those systems have occupied moons. Like the Empire could stretch its reach far, but like statistically, like even if they took out like, oh, we took out like 98% of the Jedi, 2% of the Jedi is still like thousands of people. If you
Exactly.
really think about it, like you do the math on it. So yeah, so every time there's a new Order 66 survivor, I'm like, okay, like there, like
Well,
it can't be that six guys like survived it.
well, and as far as we know, like they weren't taking I don't think we've met an Inquisitor yet who was brought in and trained directly as an Inquisitor, like
Hmm.
from the beginning. They've
Yeah.
all been like fallen Force users, so they got to pick those from somewhere too.
Hmm.
Now let me
Yeah.
see. What did M say about recasting? think about theater plays.
Yes.
I'm not gonna butcher the name of that ballet.
Hmm.
Um, many of us have seen multiple actors play the same roles, and it was fine. That's true. I mean,
Hmm.
I love Orville Peck. He's like playing in Kit Kat Club on Broadway, and he's like not the first person that originated that role either.
Hmm.
So that is something that you see a lot in theater specifically. I should probably
Yeah.
more often.
Oh man, I just went and saw Six last week on tour at my local like theater and stuff, and I love that freaking cast. And I have a feeling that, or I haven't seen the original cast really. Like I've listened to the recording, but I didn't see them perform. So like every video I've seen of Six has been like somebody new, you know?
Yeah.
And it's always fun like seeing new interpretations and stuff and new actors.
Yes.
And it's also this is in a part of Star Wars history too, if you think about it. Like we back in 1999, a bunch of people took on the same roles that we knew from the
Yeah.
original trilogy. We've got a new Mon Mothma. We got a new Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know, we
Mhm.
got new versions of these characters played by new actors because they had to be younger and they had to, in many cases, be alive. And so
Yeah.
like the fact that like people are still treating it as holy where it's like only this person can play this role, like I think we're well past that point, you know. No matter what your opinions are on Solo, I think Alden was an incredible Han. He
I
was the
love
right guy.
I like
Yeah,
Soule a lot.
I loved his interpretation of Han, and I would love to see someone take on Luke and Leia like in a much more heavy capacity like that, where we get to have more Luke and Leia scenes because they've cast great actors to take those roles on and take those mantles up.
Yeah, and we can actually see them interact and be a part of what's going on in the galaxy. That's gonna be
Yeah.
the weird thing with this whole New Republic Mandoverse era is, and I feel like a lot of people bring that up, like, are Luke, Han, and Leia sitting it out? Are they gonna recast? Are they gonna do like they did with Ahsoka, and C-3PO is gonna be like the liaison for Leia's involvement?
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I hope they stop treating it as precious. Like you know, the characters are still iconic, and those actors will, their performances will live on forever because that's how, you know, recorded media works.
Yep.
But if we want new on-screen stories, we need to stop being precious and let new people take those roles on. So like I really hope they bring back Graham Hamilton and like don't, I would love to walk into Mando and Grogu and have the delightful surprise of not seeing a CGI Luke. Like
Yeah.
that's what I would really, really love. Because the thinking about those things kind of sours my anticipation for those movies, where it's like, oh, okay, well now I've got to go see like AI Luke in the middle of this movie, and I don't want to do that. So I don't know.
Well, there's that part, and then for me, I always have to like mentally check myself to be like, yes, this is computer generated, but don't think about that part of it, and like just pay attention to what you're seeing on the screen. It's the whole like, I know it's not real, but I
Hmm.
have to trick myself into believing that it's real. And that's not even talking about, you know, for people who have passed away and can't
Hmm.
even consent to doing it. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other big thing. And like, and I think that there's a distinct difference between like, you know, CGI Luke versus like an alien character and all that. Like those are things that, you know, the technology was built by Lucasfilm to be able to do that.
mhm.
But like I don't know, it just feels lazy to be like, here's Mark Hamill's face. Don't worry. It's Mark Hamill, guys. Like,
Don't worry, he
no.
has zero emotions, but it's him
Yeah, he has
giving
no
the performance of
emotions.
a lifetime.
Terrible, man. Like I really hope that they make that decision to be like he's going to be a real actor giving a real performance because like it just it soured. Yeah. I think it soured a lot of the emotional beats that like Grogu and Mando went through while Grogu was training with Luke. It was just like Luke was just given very hollow
Yeah.
lines. I felt like I was watching Attack of the Clones.
That's true. Yeah, Uncanny Valley only applies to humans. We're perfectly fine
Mm-hmm.
with aliens because
Yeah.
they're already not human.
Yeah. But please give them real human voice actors. Please employ voice actors.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And not people you already have on your payroll like Tom Holland and Chris Pratt.
Oh, please, less Chris Pratt. But yeah, I'm really excited for what these episodes could spell for the future of Ventress, because the sky now is the limit. And would now that we know that currently she has no legitimate like canon death that sticks,
Yep.
I think we can look forward to a really exciting future for her, I hope.
So then here's the next question.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see her future going? We've already talked about the path, but
Mm-hmm.
is there anything else you'd want to see for the future of her as a character?
So I don't know if Ventress would be the one to do it, but something that I really enjoyed about Star Wars comics was the moment when Leia began to reunite the Alderaanians, and
Oh,
started creating like colonies for them to settle down in, and finding all the survivors. And I would love to see Ventress or Marin start looking for their sisters and looking for the survivors. And I think it would be especially great with Ventress, but also with Marin, because Ventress, she sort of exists in the like diaspora of the Night Sister culture. You know, she was taken at a very young age. Her only real relation to it is at some point Dooku allowed her to go get her tattoos. And then she like came back and was with them for like a couple days before they all got like femicided.
yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong. She can't, maybe not can't, but she's never used Night Sister magic herself. She hasn't wielded it, has she?
No,
I
yeah,
don't
even
think
in the big battle, it was all she was using the Force and her lightsabers, but the other Night Sisters were using that magic. So I would love to see her go and reconnect and make that part of her ongoing character growth.
Yeah.
Just like being more in touch with her culture and finding a new way for her people to move. And like they could even go back to Dathomir. Like there's nothing stopping them, you know.
No, we don't know what the Great Mothers are up to on there, but
True. But there's also, we learned in the Last Tales series that there are more than just like Talzin's type of clan on
yeah.
Dathomir, of witches. And I think that opens up like so much more, because finally planet has more than one kind of person on it, which is really exciting to me.
And one kind and a different kind of environment too. It wasn't completely cast in red with the Mountain Clan.
It's not just a biome. There's like snow in places. Like how wild is that? Like, and I would just love to see Ventress kind of lead that charge where it's like, okay, we're gonna go back home. We're gonna reconnect with our culture. We're going to, maybe ally with the other Night Sister
Honestly,
clans.
yeah. And you bringing up Marin as well,
Hmm.
Ventress and Marin could really teach each other, like fill in the missing gap. Because
Hmm.
I know I am included in a lot of people. Everyone was like, I hope we get to play as Marin in Jedi Survivor. Oh my God, what if she wields a lightsaber? No reason why she couldn't get a lightsaber or even just wield cows.
Hmm.
But she knows how to wield magic. Ventress obviously can use the Force, wields a lightsaber, can't wield magic. They can teach the other what the other doesn't have. And that would
Hmm.
also bring them closer as sisters, but then get them closer to wanting to find more of their sisters. And like you said, uniting clans. And I like this idea. I like where your head's at.
Hmm. And then, of course, eventually Ventress settles down on Dathomir, and she just hangs out there with like her sisters, her girlfriends, her boyfriends, whatever. And like eventually, like a scrappy little Jedi comes along named Rey, and Ventress is like, "All right, I guess I'll take you under my wing, because I'm still alive somehow, and I'm a cranky old lady."
I
And
was gonna
so
say after years of like not teaching anymore, she's like, "All right, you'll be the last one."
just takes a really long drag from a cigarette and goes like, "Fine."
Yeah.
I might as well do this before I die. Like,
I love that you also say boyfriends and girlfriends because, like, I don't know what it is for me. If it's supernatural, it's bisexual.
yeah,
Vampire, witch,
naturally.
werewolf,
Hmm.
whatever. They're all
Hmm.
bisexual in my head.
It's I am definitely like I'm one of those people who certainly ships Ventress with like exactly two dudes. But you know, I'm sure there are people and stuff like that. But she's definitely like super bisexual. And I do headcanon her as like she they non-binary too. So
I love that. As a fellow baldy and a fellow non-binary.
yes, I love that. And I really like that. So this is something I noticed in Bad Batch and also in the trailers for this show, but I love the detail they've put in her like hair growth. Because what you know, when she's a kid, she has this like dark black, like emo
Yeah.
hair. But now that she's an adult, she has, I guess, like almost bleach white hair, but it has these like little slivers of purple in it, which I think are really interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah, if you go look at Bad Batch, like it's there, and it's in the trailers too. The animation for Tales of the Underworld is a little bit different, but you know, only to make it a little more dramatic than Bad
Yeah.
Batch's tone was. But yeah, but her little hair swirlies are there, and I believe those have been there since like the concepts of Dark Disciple. So I'm really glad that they kept with that.
I'd love to hear once, maybe after Tales comes out, I'd love to hear more about the behind the scenes of bringing her back because, you know, we got a few interviews with Brad Brown, Jennifer Corbett, Nika Futterman, like, and they were very clear in stating, like, we're sticking to the story. Dark Disciple still happened. You know, we're not
Mhm.
changing those events. And I'd be interested to know just the process of like even redesigning Ventress's character, taking things that maybe were intended for Dark Disciple and incorporating them into this new look, like, you know, purple streaks in her hair, or like I
Mhm.
mentioned, you know, the little detail of the Force lightning scars. That
Mhm.
would be really cool. I'd also would love to hear their thoughts on the lightsaber
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's yellow. She's still got a yellow saber, and it looks very similar hilt wise to her old sabers.
Mhm.
So I'm like, was that just because she needed a new saber, or is there actually a reasoning that this is the design?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I told you outside of the mall thing, like I think I told you my theory was that, you know, so Barriss went and took Ventress's lightsabers and she took them to the Jedi Temple where she fought Anakin. And Anakin took them and I believe threw them directly into a trash bin in the middle of there. It was like a little like office trash bin, and just put them in there. And I think that Obi-Wan, being the sentimental guy he is, like held on to them. Um,
Mm,
so it's my theory, just because that lightsaber really, really looks like her old one.
mhm.
My theory is that at some point or another, like Obi-Wan was able to connect with her again and managed to get like a lightsaber in her hands, and she healed the crystal like on her own.
Hmm.
Much like Ahsoka did, but you know, it's a different. She has a different path than Ahsoka. You know,
Yeah.
she isn't. So she when she healed it to that like that sentinel color
Yeah.
of the golden yellow, which I love so much.
I love her with that yellow saber.
Me
I love
too.
it.
It fits her so well. Like it's just I love that they made that decision for her and weren't just like, let's just give her a purple one, because like I
Or a
get why they
blue.
would, or a blue, or
I
like a
would have
standard
raged.
green. I would, yeah. She can't have a normal Jedi lightsaber, and I know that like there have been more Jedi like recently, especially High Republic era Jedi,
Mhm.
and Rey, who have yellow lightsabers, but they are also radically different Jedi than the ones who were part of the Republic in the prequels. You know, like
Yeah.
that I think is speaking to like what that color means. Which is a more unique understanding and like a deeper or more unique understanding of the Force.
Yeah, I really like that. And I always thought about it. Yeah, it's yellow to make her stand out, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of gone back and forth on did she heal them to that color or not? And I like you bringing up just the fact that she's got a way different connection to the Force. She does, Rey does,
Mm-hmm.
even Jedi in the High Republic, because they phased out the yellow blades, and
Mm-hmm.
then they were just the kind of catch-all if you become a sense or a temple guard, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's not even yours. So
Yeah.
yellow is definitely something more special. I always joke that Disney really is into yellow lightsabers and Night Sisters right now, so it's the perfect time for her to come back.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. There's so much opportunity for more Ventress stories, and like through her, that deeper dive into the Night Sisters too, which I think is so cool and so exciting.
I think that's going to be necessary too, because I don't expect to get a ton of it in the Ahsoka
Hmm.
series. I feel like there's a lot there, but I don't feel like we're going to get a lot of explanation on it.
Yeah.
I love the inclusion, and I love the fact that Lucasfilm, or at least Dave Filoni specifically, wants to tell more Night Sister stuff. Um, I just don't think we're going to get a ton of it in that show. So I think there needs to be a place, especially if it's like, hey, did you love the Great Mothers in Ahsoka? And you've
Hmm.
already watched, the Clone Wars? Well, we've got something new for you. Tales of the Night Sister. No.
Do it! I want it. And there are more Night Sisters out there that have been introduced. They're like, especially if we're talking about the diaspora of Night Sisters. There's Death Stick, who
Mhm.
is the daughter of a Night Sister who left the planet before everything went down, basically. So she's part Night Sister. She's never been connected to like her people at all, and she works for Kira in the Crimson Dawn, which I think is, you could connect that to Maul, which connects to Ventress, which connects to Dathomir, blah 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 blah.
Yep.
And I like there's her mother that's out there. I'm sure there are several other Night Sisters who were just like off planet or like in another part of the planet that they came home and they were like, oh boy, what happened? What
Yeah.
a mess.
Literally.
Yeah, I feel like there's just so much potential there to like expand Star Wars in this new area. And especially I would so love to see their clan kind of like not just return but like heal, because
Mhm.
I would not classify myself as a Mother Talzin hater, but I
Yeah.
would also not classify myself as a Mother Talzin apologist.
Yeah.
Because her clan were chess pieces to her. She did not care about really what happened to the Night Sisters who were under her command. Her focus was on the chess match that she thought she was having with Palpatine,
Yeah,
and
that blew up in her face.
blew up in her face. And like I have resented her from the day that like you see Ventress's backstory, and like her mother has to give her up to some random freaking slaver that like you have like 100 force sensitive witches at your back, and you're just gonna, what does this guy have on you? So
I know, and he's that weird species with the brain head.
with the brain head, yeah. And I just like so I immediately like hate her for like separating Ventress from her mother, and we never see her mother again. She's never named by the
Oh my
time.
god.
Yeah,
Imagine if
but
she found her mother in a story.
oh, oh my god. Oh, oh my
Good
goodness.
point. Yeah,
Oh,
Night Sisters clearly, or Maul and Ventress probably have mommy issues too.
yeah.
Because Talzin was actually Maul's mother.
Hmm.
Good point.
Hmm.
I feel like you would die if they did a Ventress finds her mother story.
I would like implode. I would want to write that story though.
Hey, well, there's time.
I'm here. I am available for hire. I have written several Ventress stories. Just let me do one for realsies. Yeah, it'd be such a great, because the Night Sisters have like that. Talzin has survived in death technically. Like
Yeah.
she has shown up in the past where she's like a voice in somebody's head or whatever. And so like I would not be surprised if like there was a, moment on Dathomir where like maybe Ventress is meditating and she's visited by the spirit of her mother, because like
Oh my
if
gosh, yeah.
I feel like if her mother was alive when she came back, she would know, like it wouldn't be something that was like loosely glossed over.
Yeah.
So my assumption is that her mom is dead by the time she returns to Dathomir.
She could definitely be dead, but I could also see in a situation where she was upset with Mother Talzin and was like,
Oh,
because you made me give up my daughter. She had time to
mhm.
really think it over. And she's like, you literally made me give away my child for, like we just said, no reason to this
Yeah.
slaver.
Mhm.
So I'm going off in the galaxy and finding a new path.
Yep. That's good. I love that. Yeah.
There's options.
There are definitely options. Yeah, there's just like a lot of possibility when it comes to the Night Sisters. And it really, I mean, at the end of the day, it depends on how much time Star Wars wants to spend on gay witches.
Yep.
Which which in the past hasn't resulted in things that were pleasing to me, because I think we should spend way more time with all the gay witches. And
Oh, yeah.
one of their shows got canceled already. And also every time the gay witches show up, so they get femicided. And like
Yeah.
that's if I had a nickel for every time it happened, I would have 2 nickels, which is not much, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
Yeah, but how many witch clans have we been introduced to?
2. Yeah.
Two.
I mean 3 technically with the
True.
mountain
True.
clan. They're still alive mostly.
As far as we know.
As far as we know. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm glad you brought up the acolyte too, because I remember one of the things when they announced the casting, I was like, Joni Turner Smith could make a good Ventress. She's got the look.
Mhm. She does. Yeah. I mean, she was fantastic in The Acolyte, but hey, you
Yeah,
put her under some alien makeup, you can bring her back. She can do it
literally.
again. There was
Literally.
one guy in Star Trek who played 9 guys. So, you know, nothing's too precious not to be recast.
Well, and we have oh god, Andy Serkis. He's played
Andy
2
Serkis.
characters.
Mm-hmm.
Ahmed Best has played like 3 characters at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anthony Daniels. Oh god, what is his name from Willow, the main character?
Oh,
It's not
no, I
Kenny
know
Baker, is it?
no, it's not Kenny Baker. Oh my god, I
It's
can't
with the
believe I don't remember his name.
W.
Oh my god. Warwick Davis.
Warwick
There we
Davis.
go.
He's played a
Yes.
ton of characters in
He's played
Star
a
Wars
ton.
and
Yeah.
face characters too.
Hmm. Yeah. So I don't think, again, I don't think that's such a precious thing that like we can't have her come back in like all sorts of Ventress makeup and do something like that. So yeah.
There's options. We got options.
Scotty, we're gonna have to set up a day to talk about Tales of the Underworld together, because like I have so many things I just want to yell at you right now, and I can't.
Well, funny enough, um, I may have a little bit of a roundtable that's being planned for later in the month,
Ooh,
which
okay.
you'll definitely be invited to if it comes to fruition.
Yes,
Having a
please
meeting on
do.
Monday, so I'll let you know.
Yeah, hit me up. I will so be there. I have this is the 4th through the 7th are the only days I have like marked off for the month. Everything else is pretty good. So yeah.
Yeah, once Ventress fans get talking, we need a whole platform to
Mhm.
do it on.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, I don't think I know, but like, what really got you connected with Ventress as a character?
Oh, so I kind of have. So this is like a bit of a personal story, but I will share it.
Share whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, yeah. Slight content warning. It's about an abusive relationship. But I've always loved Ventress. I grew up with the Clone Wars. I was in school while the Clone Wars was airing, so I would watch it as it came on and stuff. But I don't think Ventress really started resonating with me until I was in a relationship where I had to survive, essentially.
Mhm.
And she became this really integral character in like my healing journey from that, because she is nothing if not relentless in her need to survive, her need to, like, I feel like Ventress is one of those people who's like, I'm going to outlive you out of spite. I swear I will. And that is what she essentially does with like Dooku and all these other characters that have like wronged her. But in that like need to survive, she also takes an active role in like her healing and atonement. Which, like I said earlier, is so rare to see in Star Wars and in media in general. And so I think that's really why I became super attached to her, because she just resonated with me in that way, where it was just like, well, here's this woman who has been put through the ringer in so many ways, and she is still getting up and deciding that she deserves a better life, and she is going to make sure that the people around her that are like her will also have a better life. And she helped heal me too. So yeah.
I love that. I feel like that's a lot of the similar reasons why I connect with her as well. Just her working past all the abandonment trauma. Dark Disciple is what really got me into her, because I feel like that was maybe the first time I got a peek into her head and saw more of who she was internally than, just what we saw her projecting in the Clone Wars. And, the first few seasons, she's just a baddie. So
yeah,
just all that abandonment, which I unfortunately have lots of abandonment trauma. So I related to that heavily, and just seeing her persevere, whether it was out of spite or because she just wanted to be better. Like, that's what made me fall in love with her as a character and why I find her so relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like all of us have, most people have had experiences that are very, very similar to like her in particular. And I think that she's just, like I said, one of those rare characters who plays such an active part in her own life. She isn't just reactive. Like her lessons are things she actively pursues and takes part in. And I think that's why I really love her, and what makes her so dynamic in a story like Star Wars too.
Yeah, because she takes on kind of like in the sense of where they persevere, like we think of Leia and she didn't need anybody to save her. Ventress also has all this, I don't want to call it baggage, but she has all these internal things as well that are fighting against her on top of outer things, but she doesn't rely on anybody else she doesn't rely on someone to fix her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a story where somebody else comes in and saves the day. Like, she saves herself.
Always. Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
Now, I do have to ask, because we're almost there. What are you doing for May the 4th?
Oh, I am actually going to be boarding the Starship Enterprise. I am going to
a cruise,
I'm
right?
going to
Is it a cruise?
Yeah, no. I'm going to Universal Fan Fest nights. So I'll be there on the 4th. Very excited
cheating
about
on
it.
Star Wars.
I will. It was a scheduling issue. So my dad, I'm flying him into town, and we're doing that on Sunday night so that on Monday I can take him to Galaxy's Edge with like very low crowds. So it's strategic, really. But yeah, I will be at Universal Fan Fest nights on May the 4th. So I'm going to get up real early. I'm going to rewatch all those episodes with everyone. I'm going to post all my reactions, and then I'm going to immediately get on a plane and fly down to LA to spend the week in Southern California. And I'm very excited about it. We're doing Universal Fan Fest nights, and then we're taking Dad to Galaxy's Edge, and then the very next day, Dad's going to fly home, and we're going to my first ever Star Wars night. So super excited. Yeah.
You've got a really fun couple of weeks coming up, it seems.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So I'm very hype, and I'll be bringing some of my bridge crew bomb with me. So if people recognize me from the internet, maybe you'll get like a free prize or something if you're not weird about it.
You're not weird about it, but I get it.
Just be friendly.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
I know you talked about in the past too, doing some Night Sister inspired things with your
Mm-hmm.
beauty. Any updates on that? Since
Yeah.
we talked like 2 weeks ago about it.
I am definitely in. So we've got a couple of lines we've got lined up before we get to that. But
Mhm.
my goal is, we're gonna. So for anyone that wasn't here 2 weeks ago, I launched last month a brand called Boldly Glow Beauty. It is a beauty brand for nerds, and our first product is a Star Trek lip balm collection, or Star Trek inspired. Let me use the legal name for it. Lip balm collection called Bridge Crew. It is inspired by Star Trek The Next Generation, and it's a little collection of colorless flavored lip balms that are available on the website now. And our next couple of collections, we've got one that's like based on book tropes. We have that'll be like our first tinted moisturizer or tinted lip balm. And then we've got another one, Logical, which is an eyeshadow palette inspired by Mr. Spock. And then after that, I'm going to be venturing into the world of lip stains. And that is where our Night Sister collection will come in. So,
Ooh.
yeah, so we're going to have lip stains inspired by all of the Night Sisters that have been featured in Star Wars so far. So it'll be a bit of a small collection, but this is helpful to the baby steps that our brand is taking. I'm trying to be very safe with it because who knows what the business landscape is going to look like in like a month.
Yeah. Oh, I work in logistics, so yeah,
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, one collection at a time for as long as I can afford tubes. Yeah. So the general plan is we want to develop lip stains that are inspired by the Night Sisters, and I'm really excited for that because I am very much a lip stain girly over lipstick. It's nothing against lipstick. It is a sensory thing for me. So I like
Mhm.
something where I get lots of color, but I don't feel it on myself.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to, since I love lip stain so much, and it's like one of my favorite makeup items, I wanted to do something with the Night Sisters because I love them so much. So yeah, that'll be probably coming early 2026. So just keep an eye out for that. If it launches any earlier, I will be announcing that on my socials. But we're just going to see how these next few months play out, and then start making plans for the future.
There you go. And just so everybody knows, Catrina's socials are in the description, so make sure you give them a follow if you haven't already.
Yay. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I have plans indirectly that I'm going to be
Ooh.
getting a May the 4th tattoo again this year.
Yay! What are you gonna get?
So, long story short, I invited my friend and his partner over for a movie night, and he was
Mhm.
like, "Oh, you need to come up to the shop soon because I just got like a bunch of Star Wars flash and I know you'd like some of it. Like, so I want you
Mhm.
to come check it out." So, I was originally going to come up the next weekend, but then it was like celebration weekend. I was like, I definitely can't come up this weekend. Maybe I'll come next weekend. And
Mhm.
then I got sick. So I was like, okay, just go ahead and send me the flash. I'll look at it. And then I was like, we'll set it up. So coincidentally, I ended up setting it up for this Saturday. Well, I guess tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Tomorrow, I'll be getting a Star Wars tattoo. And it's funny because there was a lot that I liked, and
Mhm.
it was a little weird because I'm like, I mean, we didn't work on any of these designs together. It's just picking from Flash. But
Mm.
out of all of the designs, and there was a lot that I liked, I ended up going with a Darth Vader one, which is very
Oh,
not me. I'm not
yeah.
like a Vader. I'm not like a Vader stan. So
Mm.
I never really thought about getting a Darth Vader tattoo. However, what got me like really into it, once again, we talk about characters with trauma.
Mm.
So it's a cracked mask Vader with like flames behind
Um,
him. And
mhm.
I was really drawn to it because, that's that vulnerable moment where, we see the person underneath, the man beneath the machine. Like at Vader's core, he's this broken man inside of this suit. And we see
Yeah.
that. And I was like, ooh, could we add a banner that says, I am what remains with it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Yep. So I'll be getting that tomorrow. I was posting in my Discord. I was like, I like spooky and kooky, dark, depressing tattoos. Like that's like my vibe.
Oh, that's great though. I love that. It's such a heavy, like it happens twice essentially, in animation with his fight with Ahsoka and then in live action with Obi-Wan. And no matter how many times I see it, like that moment is always like, oh man, like cuz it's so easy to forget when he is at peak Vader that he really is just a broken Anakin in there.
Trapped.
Mhm.
He
Absolutely.
literally sealed his fate inside this suit. So yeah, I guess that kind of plays into the healing ourselves from our issues. We recognize that they're there and accept them, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm really excited about it. I think what hits me so hard about that scene too is that kind of malfunctioning voice of the Vader in between the Vader and Anakin voices, where
Mhm.
it's like really it's Anakin peering through in those moments. And
Yeah.
I know some people say, they don't like that they're trying to humanize Vader so much, but I'm like, this man is trapped in this suit. This is not the future he wanted.
Mhm.
And Anakin's still there. The whole thing about Vader is he's trying to destroy Anakin the whole time, but Anakin's always a part of him.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that, there's this, I don't know, with the rise of like puritanical thought, and not to get like super deep here or whatever, but like there's been this thing on the internet where it's like it can either be right or it has to be wrong, and there's no middle ground. And if you like this bad guy, like you're bad too, and that's not how stories work. Vader is this representation of like what can happen if you fall so deep into darkness and madness,
Yeah.
and you succumb to all of the like natural machinations that we have as people to want what we feel is justice and what we feel is right despite everything else. So I think that loving Vader, there's the I really love that he is a character who is trapped within his own body versus that like, oh, Darth Vader wouldn't approve of sexual assault kind of
Or
thing, where it's just like,
or
yeah,
standing up to cheer during Order 66, and then
yeah,
Anakin kills the younglings in the theater.
yeah, that's there is a right and wrong way, I think, to like or care or enjoy Vader as a character, and like that is what it is. It's not, oh, if you love him you're a bad guy. Like it's if you applaud the fact that he's killing children, you might need to go to therapy.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more than therapy, but definitely start with therapy. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I never thought he's never been like a character that I've really connected to, but I think it's with this recent storytelling
Yeah.
and talking about we've compared live action and animation. You put on Twilight of the Apprentice from Rebels, I cry every time. I can
Mm-hmm.
just put on those scenes and it happens. I don't even need to watch the whole episode.
Yeah.
And with the Kenobi ones, I have my gripes with that show, but
Mm.
those scenes between the quiet moment, literally between Vader, Anakin, and Obi-Wan in that final episode, like that's what hit me hard.
Mm.
And that's just Anakin's gone, I am what remains, and you know, Obi-Wan just saying, I'm sorry. Like the simplest thing, there's no long drawn out apology. He's just like, I'm so sorry that this is what
Yeah.
happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
Great moments.
Just
I
incredible, poetic.
and and you know what? If we didn't have the face crack or the mask crack in Ahsoka, I don't know if we would have got it in Obi-Wan, but it works so
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, and I love that it happened with those two, because like those were arguably, like, outside of Pod Bay, those were the most important people in his life. Those were his best friends,
Yeah.
and I think that it helped with their journey, like as much
Oh
as,
yeah.
yeah, as his path. So.
And I'm trying to think with that too. I love just the fact that they did crack opposite sides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. Oh my God.
I
Oh,
I love a
he's had to
tragic
get his mask fixed so many times.
I know. Well, and his grandson's right there with him. So
Yeah. 20% of the First Order budget is allocated to repairing Kylo Ren stuff every other week.
yeah, I imagine so. I really thought this Lego was going to be a very quick build, and here I am almost 2 hours in, and I still got pieces going on. I got like 3/4 of a ship here.
Oh my god, yeah, it's almost 9. Jesus. Ah.
I know. I'm surprised. I was gonna buy another set because I was like,
Mm.
"Oh, I'm gonna fly through this 30 minutes an hour, and then I guess Katrina and I'll just sit and talk, and I'll actually be able to take the Lego thing away from the screen." Clearly not.
Oh my gosh. I may need to cut though real soon. Just to go I gotta go get ready for this weekend. So
Oh no, you are all good. I am. You are good to go. If you need to go, you're good to
mm.
go.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm always very excited to talk Ventress with you, and I'm very excited for this potential roundtable or just getting into DMs and just like key smashing with you because man,
Yeah,
ah,
we gotta talk about it. There, and from what you haven't said, there's clearly so much to say.
there's so much for us to talk about. I'm so excited.
Well,
But yeah.
like I said, everyone, Katrina's links are in the description. Make sure you follow her, all of their great content. Yeah, and thanks for coming and hanging out with me. And come Sunday, we can finally have a chat.
Yes, I will be in Discord screaming at you first thing Sunday morning, I promise.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Well, what that means is this is the end of the stream, y'all. Thank you all so much for coming. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and follow me on social media for all my great Star Wars content, as well as Katrina. Thank you all so much, and may the Force be with you. And happy May the 4th.